Hi all, welcome back to another post today. And we all know that surrogacy is regulated in the country. In 2021, we had the Surrogacy Regulation Act in India. And very recently, there was a case that went to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court upheld the right of a woman to motherhood through surrogacy. And that because the woman was facing a problem with the recent amendment that was brought in this Regulation Act, Surrogacy Regulation Act, where she was not allowed to take the help of a donor. And let's talk about this issue today, and also let's know a few details about the surrogacy as well as the surrogacy in sector or the situation in India. So what exactly is surrogacy? It is now a method to treat infertility among couples who want to conceive children, and it is a method where a woman carries the child in a womb for another couple. She is called as a surrogate mother who rents a womb. So commercial surrogacy is not allowed in India after the Act of 2021. This exactly is not the definition of surrogacy according to the Surrogacy Regulation Act. I will look into it in the further of my post. So we have we have a gestational carrier and a surrogate. So what exactly is the difference? Now, a gestational carrier is a woman who carries the pregnancy for another, and a surrogate is a woman who donates her egg and carries the pregnancy for another couple. Now, in gestational surrogacy, the embryo is created through the process called as IVF, using the eggs and the sperm of the intended parents or the donors, and the embryo is then transferred into the surrogate, who carries the pregnancy completely and then hands over the baby to the intended parents or the donor couple. So recently there was a change that was brought about by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare into the Surrogacy Act, and amendment was done to the rules where the couple was not allowed to go in for a donor. And now this became a problem for them to achieve their right to parenthood through a donor. And what exactly does the Supreme Court? So we know that the judiciary in India is just not the interpreter of the laws, constitution, and also to protect, to regulate the actions of the various organs of the government, but also a protector of the rights of the individuals in the country. And today it has come to the rescue of a woman to achieve a right to parenthood, and that through surrogacy. Now the two-judge bench came to the rescue of the woman suffering from a rare medical condition called as Mere Custer-Hauser syndrome. I'm sorry, it is also called as MRKH syndrome, by staying the operation of the law which threatened to wreck her hopes of becoming a mother through surrogacy, and that through with the help of a donor. Now the medical records show that she has absent ovaries and absent uterus, and hence she cannot produce her own eggs or oocytes, and the couple then began with the process of gestational surrogacy through a donor in the last year of December. However, in March 2023, this year, the amended law was brought about, banning the use of a donor gametes or eggs, and it said that the intended couples should use their own gametes for the surrogacy. The petition was then filed in the Supreme Court challenging the recent amendment, saying that it is violating the woman's right to parenthood. The amendment is now coming in the way of the couple to achieving parenthood through surrogacy, and the woman motherhood through surrogacy. Now, the amendment was made in paragraph 1 of the Surrogacy Regulation Rules 2022 by ruling out the use of donor eggs, which the couple had already gone through in last year December before the amendment came into being. So it ruled out the use of using donor eggs and made it impossible for the client and her husband to continue with the process of the gestational surrogacy in order to achieve parenthood. Now here the parents argued that the amendment contradicted with one section called as Section 2 and 4 of the Surrogacy Act of 2021, which recognized a situation in which a medical condition would require a couple to opt for gestational surrogacy in order to become parents. The Rule 14 of surrogacy rules, which restricted that the medical or congenital conditions owing to which a woman could choose to become a mother through gestational surrogacy, they included having no uterus or missing uterus or abnormal uterus like a hypoplastic uterus or intrauterine adhesions or thin endometrium or small unicornate uterus or T uterus as it is called. And if the uterus is surgically removed due to any medical condition such as the gynecological cancer. Now the woman was suffering from such a situation similar to what is defined in Rule 14 of the surrogacy rules, where she does not have a uterus, and therefore she had to go in for gestational surrogacy. The decision therefore to have a surrogate mother, the court said, was entirely based on the woman's inability to become a mother owing to her own medical and congenital conditions. Such a condition included absence of uterus or repeated failed pregnancies, multiple pregnancies, or illness that makes it impossible for her to carry the pregnancy to term and made pregnancy life-threatening. This was said in support of the woman. The court therefore held that the amendment cannot contradict the Rule 14, which recognizes absence of uterus as one of the conditions which provides the woman to right to go in for gestational surrogacy, and therefore upholding the right of motherhood of the woman. Addressing the government's condition that the surrogate child should be genetically related to the couple, the court pointed out that the child would be related to the husband. In this regard, it may be noted that the expression genetically related to the intended couple has to be read in being related to husband when Rule 14 applies, and this was the court what said when it was supporting the couple's right to parenthood. So this is about how the Supreme Court upheld the right, and one step, very good step by the government, was bringing out the Surrogacy Act, because there was a rampant exploitation of poor women who are actually the surrogates' mothers, where many a times they are not paid, and they are insufficiently paid, and apart from that they are also exploited. And also sometimes the baby is not taken if it has any deficiencies or is born with certain defects, and even if the baby is healthy, sometimes some arguments or divorce by the couple, the baby is left to the burden of the surrogate mother, who does not have the ability to take care of the child. So government therefore has regulated the surrogacy in India, and there cannot be commercial surrogacy practiced in India. It's only altruistic. So in India, the practice of surrogacy is now not new, let me tell you. Although there was previously uncontrolled practice of surrogacy due to lack of clear legislation, the successful delivery of the first IVF child named Kanupriya alias Durga in Kolkata in October 3rd, 1978 gave India's population hope for surrogacy as an alternative reproductive technology. And surrogacy is regulated as by an act in India. I will not go into the details of an act. It spells out what is surrogacy, it defines who can go in for surrogacy, and it also defines who can be a surrogate mother as well. It also has a dedicated structure from the national to the state level to regulate surrogacy in India. The Act defines surrogacy as a practice where a woman gives birth to a child for an intending couple with the intention to hand it over to them, the baby, after birth. It is permitted only for altruistic purposes or for the couples who suffer from infertility or any disease. Surrogacy is prohibited for commercial purposes, including for sale, prostitution, or any forms of exploitation as well. Moreover, once the child is born, it is deemed to be a biological child for the couple for all intents and purposes. Abortion of such a fetus is only allowed on the consent of the surrogate mother, and the authorities must adhere to the provisions of the Medical Terminancy or Pregnancy Act, which is there in India. So commercial surrogacy, let me tell you, is at the rate of $2.3 billion industry in India. Nearly 25,000 children are born to surrogates every year, and 50% of them are clients from the West. What makes India a very lucrative market or a center for surrogate is cheap medical facilities, advanced reproductive technology, know-how, poor socioeconomic conditions of the surrogate mothers who are from the backward category of class, lack of regulatory laws as of recent, that is before 2021. Payment to the surrogate mother is very, very less in India compared to the other countries who offer the surrogate services. It ranges from 3 lakh to 3.99 lakh. However, some claim that while a couple pays just 2 to 5 lakh, the surrogate mother gets only between 75,000 to 1 lakh, and this is where the exploitation actually happens. Most of these women work as domestic help. As I told you, they come from the very backward classes of the society, and normally just earn about 3,000 per month. So this is about the surrogacy in India and how the Supreme Court has come to the rescue of women. So the judiciary supporting surrogacy in India, where it tried to even overlook a recent amendment by the government by supporting the woman's claim to motherhood, and we have just taken a look at what is the surrogate industry in India. It's definitely going to grow further, and we have very good that we have an act to regulate the surrogacy in the country. So proper implementation of the act will definitely be beneficial to the surrogates who are from the backward classes. So I hope this information was really helpful to you all, and if you did, please do like, share, subscribe, and do not forget to comment also, and I shall see you in my next post. Until then, it's very happy learning.